Yes, indeed. So here we are at the quarter-final of the Ultimate Supermarket Lager Championship. I didn't think we'd ever get this far, and it seems to have been going on forever. But I'm enjoying it. I hope you lot are too. It's wonderful. I'm enjoying drinking all these great beers, and now we're getting to the point where it's really going to start getting serious. All the beers that are left in the championship now are really, really good. So let's have a little look at the beers that are left in the championship. So this is how it looks. The Spaten is up against the Lowenbrau at first. Then the next bit we have got the Rudgate Pilsner against the Staropramen, the Czech brewed Staropramen there in the second lot. In the third matchup, we can see there we've got the Jupiler, amazing beer, against the Eyinger Hell, another amazing beer. That is going to be interesting. And after all the controversy surrounding the Tegernsee Hell, that was disqualified. We had another little matchup, as you remember, where the Hawkstone made it into the empty slot, and that will be up against the Augustiner Hell. So there you go. That's what it looks like this particular tournament. And looking at the things, we've got 4 German beers. We've got 2 UK brewed beers, and we've got a Czech beer and a Belgian beer. So it's fairly representative of what the beers were going in, really. I think nearly half the beers were German beers going in. We had quite a few UK brewed beers, only got 2 of them left. Some of them were a little bit weak, but a little bit of shout out to a couple of the UK beers that were really good, but just unfortunately didn't get through. I'm thinking of the Sam Smith's lager. Was a really nice lager, but got knocked out by a very strong lager. The Spaten, no, it's the Schneider Hell. I think he knocked it out. I don't have the thing with me. And of course the Saltaire Pilsner, I remember really liking as well. So that's another one, little honourable mention there for some of the UK brewed ones. And we've of course got the Hawkstone and the Rudgate, that are both amazing beers, which are still in the championship. Of course, we've got the Jupiler, the only Belgian beer, and it's really holding its own. And the Czech brewed Staropramen is up there with the big boys. It's in the quarterfinals. What can I say? And the others are German beers, and we've got 2 of them up against each other today. We have got on my left, the Lowenbrau Münchner Hell, and on my right we've got the Spaten München. It's an original from München. It doesn't say it's a Helles. It just says it's a beer from Munich. And this Lowenbrau, as I say, says Münchner Hell. Whether it's the same as what the Lowenbrau originally used to be, I still don't know. But all I can say is I was absolutely smashed over by how amazing it was last time I drank it. The Spaten. Every time I've had this, I've been impressed. Oh, why am I still talking? Let's get these bad boys cracked open. Let's get them poured into glasses so that I can actually see which one is going into the semi-finals. Beers poured. And it looks like we've been poured some nice generous helpings there, because obviously we know that we're going to need quite a lot of beer to tell the difference between these two and decide which goes through. These are both cracking beers, if I remember rightly, and well, what can I say? I cannot wait to taste test these and find out which one's better. So let's have a look at them. So our heads have gone down a little bit. They came out of the fridge. I spent quite a bit of time waffling and doing about 17 takes, so they are a little bit warmer now, which is good, because I always complain about how underwhelming the beers are until they've warmed up a little bit, and then I go on about how amazing they are. So these ones should be amazing right from the off. So let's have a little look at them. Oh, hang on, before we do that, it's tradition, isn't it? I've got to tell you which one's which. So, okay, this is which one's which. Okay, that was which one was which. Now, let's have a look. This head has dissipated very quickly indeed. This one, not quite as quickly, but they're both dissipating quite quickly. They weren't that small when they were originally poured. Looking at the colours, they're both very, very similar colours indeed. Yeah, they're both the same then, really. There's no difference in the colour there. It's almost like they poured the same beer into 2 different glasses. So, there's room to swill this one around. I'm going to have a nose on this one, because they're both a pale straw colour with a tiny hint of amber in them. They look crystal clear. They don't look too carbonated. They both look really smooth. This one's a little bit less carbonated than this one, I'd say, but it's very hard to tell. At the moment, I have no idea which is which. Let's see if a nose can give. Well, I said I was going to decide which was better before I even think about which is which. So definitely for this one, I'm not even going to think about which is which here. I'm just going to think about which I like. Okay, that smells really good. Really good. Smells malty, bready, biscuity, a little bit. It's a bit dry, a bit lemony. It's got everything. It's got a whole lot there. I don't know which one this is, but this one in the smell has the whole shebang. Let's face it. It's got lemon. It's got a little bit of orangey, citrusy, floral character. Got malt in there. It's biscuity. It's bready. The more I'm smelling it, it's got a little bit, possibly a little bit more lemony. Bit lemony's kind of taking over a little bit. A little bit less lemon in the smell there, and that would be amazing. But it smells like it's going to have a really nice taste. It's going to be full flavoured, and it's going to be amazing. Let's have a smell on this one now. So this one, again, no idea what this is. Smells are a little bit more muted on this one. Bit more malty and a bit more syrupy. In the smell there's still a little bit of lemon. Again, not quite. Somewhere in between this one and this one would be perfect. This one's a little bit more malt than I would like. That one's got a little bit more lemon than I would like. I'm being really nitpicky now. I mean, both of these smell absolutely gorgeous, and I would demolish either of these anytime. But being really picky, this one's a bit more malt forward, a little bit syrupy. But again, that's just on the smell. This one is more lemon and orange forward as well. But again, it's about how these smells translate to the taste. Sometimes they've got quite a strong smell of malt, but it's more in the background when you taste it. They both smell delicious. That smells really nice. It smells a little bit rustic, which I like. I know that some of the rustic beers I've called dirty and said and sent them home, but rustic can be good as long as it tastes clean. A clean rustic rather than a dirty rustic. I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, I could just smell these beers all day. I'm not going to, because, you know, we've got to get in for the taste, don't we, really? But they smell great. Just want to put them both together in a big glass and just spend a big stein, just pour them both together and have the perfect beer. But I've got to decide which one of these is more perfect than the other. So, let's have a swill. Okay, this is the one that I'm going to start with because it's the one on my right. I always start with the one on the right. So here we go. I'm diving in. Cheers. That is smooth as they come. That couldn't hold it in my mouth, that one. I'll have to have another go. Oh, lovely. That lovely biscuity, bready aftertaste that I went on about with the Singer. This has got it in spades, and it's not overcarbonated. It's not gassy in the slightest. It's smooth, and it's got that lovely aftertaste. Let's have another go. Fairly low bitterness. There's a little bit tingling in the tongue there. Lovely aftertaste. Incredibly drinkable. There's a little bit of malt that lingers on the tongue as well. You don't get much of that lemon in the flavour, but if you search for it, it is there. It's kind of there on the top. You've got the malt in the middle. A little bit of bitterness down the sides. Whichever one this is, if you had some bottles of this in the garden with a barbecue or just in the sun, you could literally just drink one after another after another of this. It's absolutely really nice. Got really good flavour to it, but it's really refreshing, really easy going. I drank nearly half the beer now. I don't feel, you know, it doesn't feel kind of sickly at all or anything like that. Not that it would, but some of these lagers do. Yeah, I mean, wow. I can't drink any more of that because I need to save it for comparisons. And considering I think that was the one I had more in, I best get started with this one, hadn't I, really? Okay, we're all swilled out with that one. Right, diving into this one now. Cheers. Hmm. They're quite different on the flavour, which is interesting. This one's drier. Again, still quite low bitterness. Bit of maltiness on the flavour. Still no idea which is which. That's interesting. The maltiness is not up front. It's kind of lingering in the background. It just gives it a more full-bodied mouthfeel. There's a little something in the background of the flavour. It's not quite as clean as this one. Possibly, I don't know though. It's not got the aftertaste that this one's got. The aftertaste is a slightly more malty aftertaste. It doesn't go very far though. It's a bit short. It's a bit quick. This one, the aftertaste lingers a bit more. I'm going to go from one to the other. Yeah, I mean this one's... When you go from this one to this one, you can taste the citrus in this one. A bit more of the lemoniness. This one doesn't really have any lemoniness to speak of. What I love is, I'm trying to think of which is which. I haven't a clue which one's which out of these. When I've decided which one's going through, I'll have another taste and just see if I can get it. But I know I struggled with the Lowenbrau last time. I'd say that's a little bit fizzier. It is a hard one, this. To be honest, on the taste, both of these I would kind of consider to be the perfect lager, really. When it comes down to this kind of thing. I mean, you might be able to get better ones with more flavour or whatever, a bit more interesting or whatever, but when it just comes down to having a pale lager, like a German lager, maybe not a Pilsner because there's not enough bitterness for that, but you just take a German, just lager or a Helles or something like that, and this to me is perfection when it comes to that. Neither of these are particularly a Pilsner style. That one's got a little bit more bitterness now I'm tasting it on the finish. This one's a bit soft on the finish. So we've got a bit soft on the finish on this one. That, whatever it was saying this was cleaner than this one, this is really clean as well, to be honest. So it's got a bit of a rustic flavour, but it's not dirty. It's just, there's some elements there I can't quite put my finger on, but they make it interesting. This one is just lovely, but not as interesting. This one's got more flavour. This one's easier to drink and a bit more pleasant, I think, but I don't know. It's so hard to decide between these two. I knew this was going to be really, really tricky, and I've nearly finished them, even though I had quite a big serving of both. Oh, let's have another swill. And then I'll have to do some sips to make these last. This is tasting a bit more like a weaker fest beer. Like if you took a fest beer and, I won't say watered it down, but I kind of brewed it to, for 5% or whatever. This is the kind of thing you get. And I really like a good fest beer. That's the kind of flavours I'm getting from that one. It's a hard one. It's hard. I mean, both of them, I'd say they're perfect. Both of them have kind of little flaws in a way, in that this one could have more flavour. This one could be a bit more... I don't know, a bit more easy drinking, but that's the thing, you see, it's, you know, easy drinking sometimes has less flavour. I mean, this one, the flavour there is really pleasant. It's very, very tasty. And I am struggling. I'm running out of beer. What on earth can I do? I don't want to do this. This is going to get so hard. As we get through these rounds now, it's going to get so hard. What can I say? Okay, I think I'm going to go for one of these. And I've just got to ask myself, which one would I rather buy a bottle of now? If I went off and just had to buy a bottle of one of these two beers, which one would it be? And the answer is, I don't know. Not yet. Hang on. Thinking they're both more similar. If they're both more similar, then it'd be easier to tell which was better. But they're not. They're different. They're kind of different styles. And I think because this one's a bit cleaner and it's a bit more bitter, it's a bit more the kind of thing I like. I don't like them too soft. This is a little bit soft on the finish. And I think that biscuity bready finish is going to win it for this. I think Warsteiner had a similar really nice bready finish to it. The Singha had the really nice bready finish to it. This has got the really nice bready finish to it. If I have in my head the perfect lager, it's closer to this than it is to this. I think this with a bit more maltiness would be as closer to the perfect lager than this with a bit more bitterness, if that makes sense. So as a result, this is the one that's going to go through to the semi-final. So there you go. I've made a decision. And I could be wrong, but I'm going to guess that this one's the Spaten and this one's the Lowenbrau. Now, can I identify a Lowenbrau? We'll find out in a minute. And the answer is no, I don't know what Lowenbrau tastes like, clearly, because this was Lowenbrau and this was Spaten, which is a shame really, because Spaten's cheaper. I was hoping to be able to pay like £2 something for a bottle rather than £3, but there we go. I mean, I always liked Lowenbrau. Right from the early days of me drinking beers, when I first drank a Lowenbrau, I was really impressed, and just, you know, even though back in the day it was just seemed like, you know, like another Kronenberg, it was seemed like in the day. People could not be further from the truth as far as I'm concerned. This is an absolutely cracking beer. So this was the Lowenbrau and this was the Spaten. I didn't expect that. I didn't think the Spaten would be slightly more malty. But there we go. So wrong again. I don't know what Lowenbrau tastes like. I wonder if I'll ever be able to identify a Lowenbrau against anything. We will find out when we go to the next round. But there you go. The Lowenbrau is through again. The Spaten gone down there. What a shame. It breaks my heart to have to send the Spaten home. But at the end of the day, this one, it's a little bit lighter in flavour. The flavours are more subtle, but the flavours that are there are just amazing. They're just what I want. There's a bit of lemon, there's a bit of bitterness, there's a little bit of malt, there's a lovely biscuity bready aftertaste. That's the stuff. It's such a great lager. It's not in your face full flavoured, but it doesn't have to be. It's just the flavours are there. The flavours are there. They're not in your face, but it's just so refreshing. If I had a crate of this in the back garden, I could just drink one after another after another. It's just amazing. It's so drinkable. It's so tasty. It's refreshing. It's smooth. It's an advert for Lowenbrau, basically. Let's just put it like that. It's a cracker. It's an absolute cracker. What can I say? It beat the Augustiner Edelstoff. Now it's beaten the Spaten, and it is through to the semi-final. How far will this guy go? We will find out, but not yet, because we're still in the quarterfinals, and there's going to be another one coming soon. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and till next time, have a good one.